Republican presidential candidate Newt Gingrich made a campaign and fundraising swing through Orange County and sat down for a short chat with the Orange County Register.
Well, it would have been the right thing to do if the government had kept its word. Reagan wrote in his diary at the time that he signed it because we were swapping limited amnesty for what we thought were 300,000 people who turned out to be about 3 million, in return for getting control of the border, having an effective guest worker program, and being able to have strong penalties for employers who hired people illegally. The Congress didn't follow through, so you got amnesty but none of the other things. And in retrospect, that's part of what motivates me today to try to solve this, is that 26 years later, we still haven't solved the problem, which has grown substantially more complicated in the last 26 years. I think the American people are deeply opposed to amnesty, and they're deeply opposed to people who began their career by breaking the law, getting to be citizens. But they are also realistic and recognize that if somebody's been here 25 years and they're a grandmother or a grandfather and they have family here, that we are probably not going to deport them. I mean, we're not going to tear grandparents out of their families. And so having some middle ground, if you will, where somebody can get access to residency if they meet a series of tests. They have to have an American family sponsor them. They have to have proof that they've been here a long time. They have to have proof that they have family. And they have to have proof that they've been paying their bills and been good members of the community. And I would do it with a citizen review board. That allows us to legalize the system without giving people citizenship, which is a very different standard. I would require those folks to go back to their home country to apply for citizenship if that's the route they want to go. They could still come back as residents legally while waiting to become eligible for citizenship. But they would be in line with everybody else and they would not have any advantage for having broken the law. I don't know. I mean, I like Pete a lot. He's an old personal friend, and I certainly think that he's not somebody I'm going to attack or be negative about. But I would say that Governor Romney's position on immigration is much less sympathetic to immigrant communities than mine is, and that's something he's got to defend and explain in his own right. He's backed down some as I pushed him on this, because he's conceded that he's not going to deport grandparents either. So some of what he initially did was just pure bluster for trying to get right-wing votes. Yes, it does if you're born anywhere else in the world. I mean, only if you are here because your parents brought you here are you not eligible to serve in the military to earn citizenship. So if you had been back in your home country, you'd be eligible. That strikes me as a reasonable first step to say young people who want to become citizens, who came here illegally because of their parents, if they serve in the military, they're then eligible for a path to citizenship. If they go to school, they can go to ROTC. You know, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying if you want to be an American citizen badly enough, serving this country in uniform is a pretty good way to do it. No, I think you should try to get 50%. I think we should go all out. Look, I'm going to be campaigning on $2 a gallon gasoline, 4% unemployment, a personal Social Security account for young people, and a 15% flat tax as an option for personal taxes, abolishing the death tax and 12.5% corporate tax. So I think I'll have a lot of things to go and talk to the Latino community about. Furthermore, the Obama administration's war against the Catholic Church, I think, opens up a huge opportunity for Republicans in the Latino community, and it's one that I would aggressively try to develop. I know this is like the NCAA Final Four without elimination, you know, and we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it has certainly been a little bit like riding Space Mountain so far. I feel like I've been on a roller coaster of up and down, up and down. It's been amazing. We focus on very big ideas like $2 a gallon gasoline, 4% unemployment, allowing young people to have a personal Social Security savings account, and we rebuild our momentum. I was in December, I was ahead between 15 and 21 points in the national polls, depending on who you looked at. Then Romney hit us with a huge volume of negative ads. We came bouncing back after South Carolina. I was ahead again by 7 to 9 points in national polls. Then he hit us with 4 times as big a negative ad wave. And even despite that, I still came in second in Florida and second in Nevada. And so now we've got to get past the brief Santorum boomlet. And another 2 weeks from now, I think we'll be back in the hunt. And I think in the end, this party does not want to nominate a pro-choice, pro-gun control, pro-tax increase Massachusetts moderate who created the forerunner to Obamacare. Well, I'm for high-speed rail if you can make it work financially, but there's a big difference. High-speed rail is simply a transportation mechanism. And if we could build a model that the private sector would invest in, and we could do it using logical labor rules as opposed to the kind of unionized work rules that Amtrak has. I'm not opposed to high-speed rail, but I'd want to make sure that it was financially possible and not just a long-term open-ended drain on the taxpayer. Space is different. First of all, I haven't suggested spending any additional money. NASA spent $181 billion in the last 10 years, and we ended up without a single human-rated rocket. A single rocket that's designed to carry people. Now that is, I mean, think about that. We spent $181 billion and we rely on the Russians to get into space. Now there's something profoundly wrong. So I want to shake up NASA. I want to move to a much more entrepreneurial, private sector oriented model of risk-taking in space. The Wright brothers discovered how to fly by going to Kitty Hawk for 5 summers, and the total cost was $500. The Smithsonian had a $50,000 grant from the Congress, and they failed. I think we can open up space to private sector initiatives, to courageous individuals, to people who want to adventure, and we can go much further, much faster than we've been going. My point would be spend the money, but spend the money arousing. I'd want to get 4 or 5 private sector dollars for every tax dollar. I'd want to really build a partnership that dramatically expanded the resources going into space, but also expanded the speed and the rhythm and the daring and the risk-taking. Oh, sure. We had, if you go back and look at the X Prize, it was amazing how many people they had putting up money. You know, Lindbergh flew the Atlantic for $25,000. It was a prize. I once did a 2-day workshop for the National Academy of Engineering on prizes as a technique for getting breakthroughs.